Hi, I'm Randi Fine, narcissistic abuse expert and coach to clients worldwide. Welcome to the Randi Fine channel. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you. Thank you for following me. Many of us struggle with deciding whether to have measured contact or no contact at all. So I wanted to clear up a little bit about that to help make your decision a little bit easier. So measured contact depends on the fact that you can set boundaries with your abuser and they're not going to cross them. If you're with somebody who is a boundary crosser, it doesn't matter how many boundaries you set. So deciding to proceed with this decision is weighing the value of the relationship to the degree of abuse that you suffer. And there are certain circumstances that dictate that you must have some contact with your abuser. And if so, that would be limited contact. It's also called measured contact. But this is about retraining your abuser, just like you would train a child. You know how you have reward and abuse with a child, and if they do something good, they get reward. If they do something bad, they get a consequence for it. So in order to do this, you have to set up clear guidelines about what you will and will not tolerate. And you can't not go forth with the consequences, or you look very weak. And, so you have to set the guidelines. And this is about boundary setting. And at some other point, I'm going to do a video on how to set proper boundaries. But once you set these boundaries, you have to be a strict enforcer. That may be hard for you, but you only want to set boundaries with consequences that you're willing to enforce. So some people can pull this off and some people can't. And I always recommend that you start with limited contact, because you may not be ready to do a full no contact. And if you do it too soon, you're going to have a lot of guilt feelings and unfinished business that you'll wish you said things, and you'll just be sorry. And it can cause a lot of guilt feelings in you if you do this too soon. But if the narcissist continues to bring toxicity into your life, then you're not going to have any choice. You have to separate yourself, and total estrangement is your only option. So total estrangement means no contact at all. And there are ways to do this, and I'm going to give you some tips on what it takes to go no contact, because you don't want to just disappear. If you do, it leaves them seeking out you, and it leaves you feeling, again, like you have unfinished business. So the first thing you want to do is somehow inform the narcissist that you wish to have no more contact with him or her. The second thing that you want to do is to inform your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors that you have severed contact with this person. It's really important that you do that, because narcissists will go to everybody they think you know and try to destroy your support system. So you don't have to explain why you're going no contact, but you can just say it's become an intolerable situation, and this has been your only option. Having no contact may involve no eye contact if and when you see the person. You must change your number or numbers and block their number and numbers. No phone calls, no engagements, no emails, no texts, no accidental encounters. Because if you go no contact, that is a permanent thing to do. So you don't want to send the wrong message. If you want this person to go away, the last thing you want to do is to give them any reason to want to see you, any reason to think you might be coming back. You have to close everything off around you. No contact means no contact. It also means not looking at social media to see what the person is doing, because you can't heal that way if you're watching everything that they're doing. It's going to incite anger and frustration, sadness, depression in you. You have to change your email address and or block the narcissist from accessing it, or direct, if you can't do any of that, direct it auto spam and just delete your spam folder on a regular basis without looking at it. This is really important. You want to, if you're going no contact, you want to ask mutual friends and family members not to share any information about your narcissistic abuser with him or her. Nothing. And likewise, you want to ask any mutual friends or relatives not to share information about you. Oh, I know what I was going to say. You want to ask them not to tell you anything that the narcissist is doing. They need to filter it. There's nothing they need to tell you that is important for you to know. And anything that you know is only going to trigger you and make it harder for you. There will come a time when your healing is complete that you will be able to tolerate some of this and it won't bother you. But right now, when you're going through this and you're still in pain and you're still suffering, you don't want to know anything. That's why I say don't look at any social media. This can get severe, so you may have to change jobs or homes, locations, so your abuser cannot get to you. Often they will sabotage the things that you do, and that can include your job, and they do. So if you feel like you're being harassed by the narcissist, you need to change things and then leave no forwarding information. So yeah, and the next one is relocating your home with no forwarding information accessible to the narcissist, which means if people who know your abuser know what you're doing, it will leak out because they will get it out of them. Narcissists are such manipulators, they will get the information. Not to say that if you buy a new home or something like that, that there won't be public records, but do the best that you can do initially to get away. If you have to have any interactions with your abuser, keep them businesslike. So often, if you have children with this person and you have to communicate in some way, keep it concise and businesslike. No emotion, no extra verbiage, just say what you have to say or ask what you have to ask in as few words as possible. If you do have young children, it's wise to have some kind of mediator that can transfer your children back and forth. So you don't have to go to your abuser's home and your abuser doesn't have to come to your home. It solves a lot of problems. Some people pick a neutral place like a fast food joint or something like that to exchange the children. So it doesn't have to be on each other's turf. When your children get to be teenagers, they can negotiate it because they have cell phones and they can make whatever arrangements they want to make with that parent. You must shut down your social networking sites. And you also want to block your abuser's access to them. So if you don't want to completely shut them down, don't post anything to them. Don't post pictures. Don't talk about what you're doing. Because there's eyes all over the place. The narcissist and the narcissist's flying monkeys. They're all over the place watching everything you do, everything you say. Don't post it. You want to end all legal transactions. When you're getting a divorce, you close your bank accounts, you pay off your credit cards and then close them. If you have a business partnership, it's not going to be able to continue for very long. You may be able to negotiate it for a short period of time. Inevitably, you're going to have to make a decision. Any debts, you want to separate those debts or have them paid off so they no longer exist. And any property that you have jointly, it may be very difficult to figure out who's going to get the property. So the best thing to do is to sell the property and then you both move on to new homes. You want to take all your possessions and give your abuser his or her possessions so that the person has no reason to contact you. What they'll tend to do is they'll use excuses like, well, I left my jacket there and I really want that jacket, so I'm going to come pick it up. Or there's a book I left there that I really want to read. What you do is you prevent that by, if they don't take them all with them, you pack them up in a box and you have them delivered to the person's doorstep so that there's nothing left and they cannot use that excuse. And if you've left, make sure when you go, you take everything you want or everything that you can that you want. And the last one is about any memorabilia, anything that that person gave you, anything that reminds you of that person, which could even be a home, apartment, a house, anything like that. But if there's any memorabilia, store it away, throw it away, or burn it. Because anything connected to your abuser is going to trigger your pain. And that may always be, that may never stop. And if you have photos, delete them from your phone. If not, put them in a cloud storage somewhere, somewhere where you're not looking at them. And be very careful what you look at, because a lot of social networking sites and even our phones show anniversaries of pictures and they will pop up out of nowhere. So you want to make sure that every single picture you have is either stored away or deleted so you don't have the temptation to look at that picture. When you look at it, you will pine. And if you are not really ready to do this, it's going to be particularly hard to not look at these things, because there's a part of you that still wants to pine. There's a part of you that still wants to reminisce. And it's better to not go complete contact if you're not ready to do all the things that I mentioned. So no contact means you have made up your mind that you are erasing this person from your life. That's what it means. And you don't want to make any rash decisions about whether or not to go limited contact or no contact until you have really worked through some of your initial issues with a professional like me. I'm a narcissistic abuse coach. And this is what I help people do. I help them work through the issues of their abuse and get to a place of understanding and acceptance so that they can make clear decisions. So I don't advise you to make any decisions about the way that you're going to proceed with your abuser until you're clearer in the head. Because I've had people who have gone no contact and then they are just riddled with guilt and worry. And then they have to backtrack. I don't want you to do that. So take your time. There's no hurry to do this. And also understand, when you're doing this, you don't just disappear off the face of the earth. You basically say, I'm done. I'm done. This is it. Don't contact me. Don't visit me. I don't want to have anything else to do with you. That's it, forever. And you let them know, and then that's when you sever the contact. So I hope I helped you today with some of these tips and sort of cleared up the no contact versus limited contact, so that you can figure out how to make a decision going forward. This is not an easy thing to do. And when I talk about healing, I want you to know that, and I say this all the time, but this kind of healing really requires that you work with a professional, because what you know emotionally, what you know intellectually is not what you feel emotionally. What you know intellectually is not what you feel emotionally. And you're going to have a hard time bringing those two things together. And when you have a hard time, who's the first person you blame? You. When you can't, you say to yourself, I'm intelligent, I'm successful, I'm respected in the community, I have everything going for me. Why can't I get over this? Well, the reason you can't get over it is because this is brainwashing. Can a person coming out of a cult just walk away? No. They need to be deprogrammed and reprogrammed. And that sounds really technical, but it's not. If you're working with the right person, that through the talking and the working through those issues, you will deprogram and reprogram. That's the goal of any professional that works with people who have been narcissistically abused. So I highly recommend that you go that route. I am available for you. And you can see up in the corner, Find Life Issues Coaching Counseling. You can go to my website, randifine.com, and go to the Fine Coaching Counseling page for any information. There's an access directly to make an appointment with me, and I would really love to meet you. I also would love to hear your comments, so please leave them for me. And if there's anything else you'd like me to talk about, I'd like to hear that as well. So thank you for visiting me today. Thank you for coming to my channel. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care until I see you again. Bye-bye.